Today I thought I'd do a video about books that I've read in which I really enjoyed the love story or the relationships. And I don't necessarily mean romantic relationships, I also mean like family and friends and such. Let's get right to it. First of all, I'm going to start with my more fantasy YA contemporary books that I read like a few years ago and have continued to read because they're calming and I enjoy the stories. The first one is the Shatter Me series, of which I only own the third book. I can't say what and where and when because that would be spoilers, but the relationships in this book are wonderful and, or in the series rather, they're wonderful, and I like how they develop and how they change because it's very interesting. Like, you don't expect what happens in this book to happen, but it does. It's worth a read. The second series that I really enjoyed, the love relationship in, was Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. I love the relationship that Arya and Man X enjoyed throughout. Yeah, you can figure it out, I don't want to give it away. It's really good. It's very YA, it's very fantasy. It's not very developed, I guess, nor is it very adult. Yeah, it's an absorbing book and I really enjoyed reading it, and I have read it like multiple times. I've read the series over and over again. I tend to pick up the second book in the series more often than others. I don't know, I just like that book best. I like what happens, and I also like the relationship in that book more than I do in this one or in the third one. But yeah, definitely worth a read. And you can't go mentioning love stories without mentioning The Fault in Our Stars. Fell in love with the story. There was a part at the end of the story where I didn't know whether to weep from the bottom of my heart or whether to laugh out loud. I had no idea what was going on. I was sitting in my brother's room reading for some odd reason. He was playing video games as always. He doesn't put his video games down for anything, yet I was making such a commotion in his room by laughing and crying and going crazy all at the same time that he actually turned his games off, turned around and said, "Kirsten, are you okay? Do you need tissues? Can I get you juice?" Because he doesn't know how to make tea. Anyway, very good book. Love the story. It's not the typical romance such as this or anything else. I think it's quite realistic. It's not completely realistic, but it's quite realistic and I like it, yeah. The last series that I really enjoyed the love story in was the Shiver series, of which also I only own the third book, by Maggie Stiefvater. Stiefvater, I don't know how to pronounce it. It sounds like a Dutch name and I speak Afrikaans, which is similar, so I would pronounce it as Stiefvater. But anyway, this one, very good. Yeah, it's such a cute love story. I like this one because it's not so hormonal and it's not so teenager-ish, you know, where all they want to do is make out, kiss and have sex like that. It's not that prominent in this series. It's more of a real cute love story, and it's about the relationship that develops between two people who are both going through tough times, which I think is very relatable for a lot of us. Now, the next few books that I'm going to show you are, some of them have love stories in them, like regular, but they're not aimed at teenagers. They're more adult books, except the one. The one's a children's book. But, oh, that reminds me, I have another one. Some of them are love stories that show the relationship between two people in terms of romance, but most of them are other types of love, and I honestly, I believe that other types of love are as important, if not more so, than romantic love. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the Vlogbrothers and Esther Day. I'll leave a link in the description. You can go and watch John's video about Esther and how they celebrate Esther Day every day. So even though I have a lovely darling boyfriend and I love him to bits and I celebrate Valentine's Day with him, yeah, there's a lot of other love in the world that needs recognition. So yeah, the first book I have is a collection of children's stories. these three, you can read them, by Max Lucado. Max Lucado is a Christian writer. He does stories with Christian morals and stuff. But what I really liked about this one, I got it as a present when I was younger, is it really promotes self-love. And I think that that's very important, especially for young people, especially for children. And its Christian morals are not overpowering. It doesn't mention God anywhere in the book. There's a carpenter which acts as God, and you can clearly see that he is meant to be God. Very subtle, and I appreciate that. And also it has absolutely beautiful illustrations, and they're a bit strange, but I think they're quite cute. And the little guy, the character, his name is Punchinello. And I just thought that was adorable. Punchinello. So this story is the first one. It's about how you get different stickers stuck onto you. It's kind of commentary on how you shouldn't let labels define who you are. It stuck with me when I was a child, I must say. It was lovely, and yeah, look at this. Beautiful. So, you know, stuff that like this, these types of books really helped me realize, I'm not sure if you can see, I'll put it in front of my face. Yeah, so these types of books really stuck with me when I was a kid. Made me see better things, and yeah, it was lovely. So this is, yeah, about the love that you have with yourself and how you should appreciate who you are. And I think that's very special, especially for a young person. So, now another book that's aimed at children, though I don't know why, because it's quite horrific, is A Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Paterson. It's such a cute book. I mean, I've read it multiple times. I've watched the movie. It's such a sweet book. I think it's such a good representation of what a true friendship is like. And yeah, it's heartbreaking, but it's wonderful, and I think it's most definitely worth a read. So yeah, check it out. I'm sure you have already, but now the next book is also a series, but it's less angsty than the ones that I showed you at the beginning. It's more mature. I would like to focus on the relationship that Aragorn has with his dragon. It's by Christopher Paolini. It was one of my favorite series as a child. Like, I never read Harry Potter as a child for some odd reason. So this I would compare to everyone else's experiences of Harry Potter as a child. I would compare this series. I'm not saying it's better than Harry Potter. I haven't read Harry Potter, so I don't know. But I think I connected with this series the way that most other young people connected with Harry Potter. So yeah, it's about the love between a boy and his dragon. And yes, I know dragons aren't real, but you could kind of say the relationship between the boy and his best friend, his soulmate. Not in a loving, like a romantic way, but your soulmate. Like, you just meet this person and you know that they are your soulmate, like regardless of what gender they are and what gender you're interested in and how old they are. I think there's a person like that for everyone. And yeah, Aragorn, loved it. So the next book that I want to show you guys is an Afrikaans book. One of the most famous Afrikaans novels, I would say. It's Vila se Kind by Deleen Mathieu. It is translated into English if you would like to go and check that out. I would describe this as the love between a mother and her child, and how powerful that is, no matter where you are, how old you are, what circumstances separate you. The love between a mother and her child, even if that child is not hers. It's the most touching, heartbreaking story I've read in a very long time, besides the next book that I'm going to show you. It's beautifully written, especially in Afrikaans. She's a masterful writer. So yeah, it's definitely worth a read, and I loved it. Now the next book that I want to show you guys is covered in tabs because I read it for one of my big projects, my extended essay, which I did in English literature. So it is The Silver Dark Sea by Susan Fletcher. It's definitely what I would describe as a romance novel, but not in the typical sense, like it's not a Nicholas Sparks. Definitely not a Nicholas Sparks. I'll read you the blurb. The islanders of Pala are still mourning the disappearance of one of their own. 4 years since that loss, and a man, unnamed, unclothed, is washed onto their shores. Some say he is a mythical man from the sea, potent, kind, and beautiful. Others suspect him. For the bereft Maggie, the stranger brings love back to the isle. But as the days pass, he changes every one of them, and the time comes for his story to be told. It is one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read. It's not for everyone. I have read a few reviews of people who just say they couldn't get into it. It's too slow. The language seems repetitive, but honestly, I think it's beautiful. She makes the island speak, and I can't help but admire that in a writer. It does tell the story about a romantic relationship, but not in the terms of teenage, I'm finding new love, and in terms of we are married, we are like living together forever type of love, and how the loss of that love can devastate one. It's also the story of a love between a mother and her son, and actually there's basically any type of love you can think of is in here. And honestly, it's beautiful. It's got so much beautiful folklore in it. It makes my heart smile. It's such a lovely book. It's one of my favorites ever, I think. Honestly, it's really one of my favorites. So if you haven't read this, please do. If you don't like it, that's fine, but just give it a try, because if you do like it, you will love it. I haven't read any people who've said in between. They either adore it with everything they have, or they hate it, and that's fine too. Everyone has their opinions. It's beautiful. I love it. So yeah, I think that's all the books I'm going to show you today. That's quite a few. I would recommend all of them to you if you're looking for a love story. I'd like to remind you all to remember your mother, your father, your siblings, your grandparents, your friends, your soulmates if they don't happen to be your actual love interest. Remember all that love too, because it is just as important. I hope you guys have a splendid day, and I will see you soon. Bye!